There's nothing more heartbreaking than watching someone you love walk away from you. But what hurts even more is when you know it's all because of you. This is the final episode of our teenage love story. Omar meets Zehra one last time. She begs him not to leave, but he stays silent, forcing a broken smile. He hugs her, then turns his back and walks away in slow motion. Zehra cries, holding a phone with his picture, while Omar leaves town, staring at a photo with tears in his eyes. Cinematic tragic romance ending reign. Soft music, emotional heartbreak, slow dramatic pacing. Title appears when we were 17. It had been 2 weeks since Zehra found out about Omar's plan to leave their small town for the big city. 2 weeks of contemplating, of asking questions, of trying to make him change his mind. All her efforts were futile. Nothing could convince Omar to stay. He was adamant about leaving, about pursuing his dreams. Dreams that didn't include her. She had tried to be understanding. She really had. But the thought of losing him, of an entire future together, was too much to bear. So here she was, standing in the pouring rain, watching him pack his things, watching him prepare to leave. "Omar!" she called out, her voice cracking. He turned around, his face pale and drawn in the dim light of the porch lamp. It was clear how much this was hurting him, how conflicted he was. "I haven't packed my bag," he said quietly, his eyes downcast. "Why?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Because I don't want to go," he admitted, his gaze meeting hers. For a moment, she saw a glimmer of hope, a chance that maybe, just maybe, he would stay. But it was short-lived. He looked away, his shoulders slumping. "But I have to. It's for the best." She couldn't let him go. Not without a fight. Not when her whole world was crumbling down around her. "Don't go!" she pleaded, reaching out to touch him, to shake him out of his resolve. "Please, Omar, stay." He flinched at her touch, his eyes wide with pain. "Zehra, don't you dare lie to me," she interrupted, her voice shaking with unshed tears. "Don't you dare say you're doing this for me, for us, when you're only doing it for yourself?" Silence descended upon them, heavy and suffocating. The words hung in the air between them, unspoken, yet undeniable. He turned away, his jaw clenched tight, his body rigid with suppressed emotion. She watched him, her heart breaking at the sight of his pain, at the realization that he was leaving her behind. "Goodbye, Zehra," he whispered, his voice hoarse with emotion. He took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. "Take care of yourself! Promise me you'll be okay!" With that, he pushed past her, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. Zehra stumbled back, her hand flying to her chest as she watched him disappear into the darkness. The rain seemed to intensify, mirroring the storm of emotions raging within her. She stood there for a long time, the sound of the rain and the distant hum of traffic filling her ears. When she finally came back to her senses, it was to the harsh slap of reality. Omar was gone. He wasn't coming back. This was goodbye. She clutched his phone in her hand, the screen illuminating her tear-streaked face. His last text to her, a simple, "I love you," sent 2 days ago. It was all she had now, a digital memento of a love that was fading into oblivion. As the first rays of sunlight peeked through the clouds, Zehra made her way back home. The town, once filled with the promise of forever, now seemed like a prison of her past. Every street corner, every familiar face, every shared memory was a painful reminder of what she had lost. She spent her days in a blur, going through the motions of everyday life, talking to friends and family, trying to keep busy. But her mind kept drifting back to Omar, to the day he left, to the life they could have had. One evening, as she sat staring at her phone, she came across a picture he had sent her. It was a picture of him, standing in front of the sea, his hair tousled by the wind, his eyes fixed on the horizon. The caption read, "I'm chasing my dreams, Zehra. Don't wait for me." She stared at the photo, her heart breaking all over again. The dreams he was chasing, the ones that had taken him away from her, were they worth this pain? Was it all just a fairy tale? A sob escaped her lips, and she quickly wiped it away. She refused to cry. She wouldn't give in to the despair, but the tears came anyway, streaming down her face, mingling with the rain outside. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, Zehra began to heal. The wound in her heart hadn't disappeared. It was still there, throbbing faintly beneath her ribs. But she had learned to live with it, to carry on, to cherish the memories and the lessons. She knew, deep down, that Omar had made the right decision. Leaving her behind had been the kindest thing he could have done for her. He had set her free. And so Zehra began to rebuild her life. Brick by painful brick, she threw herself into her studies, reconnected with old friends, and made new ones. She volunteered at the local animal shelter, spending time with abandoned pets, nursing them back to health. One day, while walking through the park, she came across a group of musicians playing soft, melancholic tunes. The music resonated with her soul, echoing the bittersweet melody of her heart. And as she stood there listening, she realized that life, like music, had its ups and downs. Its moments of joy and sorrow, its harmonies and dissonances. But it was up to her to find the rhythm, to dance to the tune of her own life. With a newfound determination, Zehra faced each day, embracing the challenges and celebrating the triumphs. She knew that Omar would always hold a special place in her heart, but she also knew that it was time to move on, to write a new chapter in her story. And as the sun set over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Zehra took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the day fade into the gentle chill of evening. It was a beautiful ending to a perfect day, a reminder that even after the storm, there is always sunshine.